Hey guys, Romie here. So we're here for part 3 of the New Edition story told on BET. Now it starts off with the guys, they just found out that Bobby's also going on tour with them, but it doesn't matter because it's time for them to rehearse so that they can go on tour and make some money. And they do the rehearsal, the full rehearsal of For If It Isn't Love. And then it transitions from them dancing, and again, all of them are killing it. Everyone's killing in this movie. Everyone pulled their weight. Shout out to everyone in this movie. Shout out to the full cast of New Edition. Shout out to BET. Every single person that needed to do something for this movie, regardless if it was behind the camera, in front of the camera, with the script, without the script, did it. And side story, I of course listened to the Breakfast Club interview for Belle Biv DeVoe and also the cast of New Edition, and it's interesting because BET actually split this up so that they interviewed all the cast members of the New Edition individually. So people felt comfortable, and that's why we're getting these raw stories. That's why we're getting so much information. It wasn't, oh, we're interviewing them all at once and they're going to go and tell their life story and how they felt about each other right in front of them. No. When they went to not cast, but see the script for the first time, that's when they actually knew how everyone else felt. Most of the stories that we're seeing in this movie, people, the other group members didn't even know how the other person felt about them. So this shows how much, even though they were a great group and how they were brothers and best friends and all of that, they became very distant and held a lot in. And that's why even on the promotional press circuit, a lot of them, it's like half of them or a part of them are there at a time because there's still some fresh wounds that opened up. Now, like I said, the show started off with them rehearsing If It Isn't Love. Then they went on tour and they performed on tour. It's like, okay, that was great. The reason why Bobby Brown had the asymmetrical, if you will, Gumby haircut was because of the fact that his barber was distracted. His barber was distracted looking at the women that were there clearly just for Bobby. And then Bobby had to go on had to do the every little step video. And because it's Bobby Brown, he pulled it off. He pulled it off, and then it became a trend. It wasn't the best trend, but it became a trend, and a lot of people rock that look. Because if you do it right, it looks like something. If you don't, we've seen the after effects. Now, Bobby's coming off stage, and he's killed it. They're not squabbling, but you can tell that there's a divide. Bobby just kind of looks like he wants to go and implant himself into the group. They're like, no, we have a set time to go and perform. What was it? Who is it? Keith Sweat? Was it Keith Sweat that was on tour with them at the time? He was the middle act, if it was Keith Sweat. And Bobby was saying, maybe I can go and switch it up with you. Maybe I can go and just do mine first before the boys, or, change up the order and then come out and perform with the guys so that we can do some of our old songs. And they were like, no, Bobby, we have a set schedule. We're not going to go and just hop back on stage with you. We're cool because we're on tour and we have to be on tour. That's pretty much it. And you can tell that Bobby missed the guys. And I wish that I don't know if he ever really said it that way, because there's a lot of things that, of course, couldn't fit into the movie for the time frame. But I just kind of wish that someone's just been like, we miss you too. We understand we can't be a group together, but we can be more than what we are right now. Just passing, cars at night on the road. That's what it feels like. Now, they're, of course, New Edition's on stage. They're performing. They're killing it. And here I am thinking, this is really nice. This is really nice. But it's actually the end of the tour. It was the last night of their tour. And now it's time for everyone to part ways. Lord, when they come back together, it's crazy. Mind you, Mike went and when he was on a tour bus, there was this group that came. And the group wanted to go and perform for them. And he was like, you know what? And I'm sure in the back of his mind he was thinking, this actually reminds me of what we did. They're grown, but still doesn't matter. I can give them a chance. I can give them a chance. I don't have a record deal. I don't have an imprint, but let me see what I can do. So he let the guys sing for them, and of course they kill it. They kill it, and he's like, okay, that was nice, and he asked what's their name. So they were saying their individual names. He said, no, what's the group's name? They said, don't laugh, but it's actually Boys to Men, just like your song. It's like, oh, look at that. And he said, you know what? I'm staying at this hotel in California. Give me a call and we can work something out. And that was, I guess, the start of Michael Bivins' entrepreneurial executive, him just, really bossing up because, of course, bringing Boys to Men, being the manager of Boys to... Come on now. That is huge. Like, New Edition, and then going from New Edition, and then managing Boys to Men, and also being a part of BD. You have to give it up to him. You have to give it up to him. Now, mind you, Brooke is celebrating, I believe it was his birthday. He was celebrating New Edition. Because everyone was there. It was very rare for all of them to be together for an event. Of course, why not for Brooke? And also the success that the group had. Bobby coming in, interrupting the speech, like, it's the Bobby Show! It's the Bobby Show! Everyone's over it, like, oh, hey Bobby, what you doing? How's it going? Mind you, what's his name, Gerald? I believe that was the executive from MCA. Now he's at Motown, and he wants to go and bring over Johnny Gill. So I'm thinking, this is how it really goes. Johnny was kind of like, what's going on here? He said, here's how it works. I told you the success that you would have in New Edition. I was right. Now, we need to go and capitalize off of that. I want to bring in all the heavy hitters. I want to bring in all the heavy hitters so that your album can be huge. It'll be a monster. And instead of doing it on MCA, come over to, instead of doing it on MCA, I need you to come over to Motown, and it'll be the first hit under my leadership. I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds about right. Under your leadership, that's what you're really focusing on. But alright, it's not that you're wrong. Lord. It's interesting how Janet Jackson's, legendary producers for her Control album, they let it be known, originally they were drunk, and so it kind of came off as a joke, but they were serious. Why don't you three go and be a group? Who, you may ask? Ricky, Mike, and Ronnie. BBD. And they didn't take it seriously because in their mind they were thinking, Ralph, and then Johnny, and so how's it going to work? Ricky can sing, you two can rap. I mean, at the time, no one was doing that, so the whole concept was foreign to them. But it's like, you know what? Let's go and really be bosses. Let's go and really be bosses. The situation with Ralph changed, though, because Ralph was thinking his opportunity to go and make the album after everything was said and done. Unfortunately, MCA wanted different plans and had different plans for him. And because of that, they're like, look, we told you that we were going to bring you the best and do the best for your album, do the best for your solo work and all of that. And Ralph is irritated because he's thinking Bobby has blown up at this point. I thought I would be where he is, but I feel like I'm just being used and doing everything for the group. And it's interesting because, like Mike and Ricky and Ronnie in the Breakfast Club interview said they didn't even know that he felt that way. They never knew that he felt that way. But anyway, Ralph's wife's looking at him like, here's how this goes. You need to figure this out fast. I told you should have moved faster. I told you should have done more. Bobby's there, and he's seeing how everyone's interacting with each other. And even though he is around all of these beautiful women, he knows they're only there for him because he's Bobby Brown. He knows that they're only there for him because of the drugs and alcohol. And he misses his brothers, but he knows that they don't want anything to do with him. So he has to play the whole bad guy scene. It's like, you know what? Screw it. Now, at this point, we also see the creation of, not the creation, but the creation / music video for Poison. And it's really crazy how I'm thinking, did I ever actually watch the video, or do I remember watching the video? Because I've heard the song a million and one times, I've just never really watched the video, which is weird. Very weird, especially in this day and time. But whatever. We have the interview with all of the guys, and the interview was very awkward because the interview went left multiple times. It went left multiple times. One time was when Mike was saying how, I have Boys to Men, BBD, I have a lot going on the label, I'm an executive, you working on your solo stuff, right? Yeah. Well, I can help you out with that. I'm thinking, did he really just, he's like, yeah, because we family, I'll do that for you. I'm thinking, that's not something you say in front of cameras for an interview. Like, what is really going on there? And he took it as, like, thanks, but I'm good. Bobby still being Bobby. At this moment in time, of course, it's the same rollout of Sensitivity, so we see that. And it's nice because everyone had huge success after Boys to Men. Now, did the success continue and was it consistent? No, it's a music business and they all have personal lives, so you wouldn't expect that. But all of them had big careers after after New Edition. After New Edition. And of course, Johnny Gill, we already know what happened with him. Like I said, all of them had huge success. In this interview, I feel like it was really more so them showing that what they were able to do with the group. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to spin it off into something bigger. At the same time, Johnny had My. That's the thing. Even though R&B, I miss that about R&B. Because with New Edition, they talked about how the group had a core hip-hop foundation, of course, with R&B and a little bit of pop. And that's essentially New Edition. And that makes a lot of sense because pop, when it comes to black people and pop, the reason why it becomes popular is because when it's black, it's cool. So how it works is hip-hop is cool. If you go and do R&B and do some singing, oh my gosh, so you make it appealing enough and sensitive enough and not too rough, then it also can cross over to pop. You see how it all correlates? It's a very interesting tightrope that's played. But at this time, you can tell that it's very awkward. Even though everyone's together there, they're not really together. It almost feels like they're acting, or at least trying to show themselves as when they were at their best, more so than what's really going on. And of course, at this point, the album's going to drop. They're shooting the album cover, and again, they're doing the whole "they're not smiling" thing. And the reason why is not to do this huge protesting. It was really to more so showcase the fact that they don't have to go and just do whatever. They don't have to just go and do whatever people tell them to do. And Bobby was late as usual. Bobby was actually asleep on the couch. You're like, wake up, wake up. Ricky, who we saw, we're like, okay, what's going on? Because at this point in time, everything's done. No money's really coming in. So Ricky's trying to figure out, okay, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? No, we'll figure it out. I'm working. That's what Mike's saying. Ricky's just like, oh, Lord. Yeah, we'll figure it out, I guess. He goes, takes those pills, and I saw it. I thought, whoa, what are the... Damn, pills and drinking? Now they take the picture. Now it's tour time again. And Brooke is narrating and telling Jeff how they are broke. They are broke. They have no money. That's why they're actually going on tour. That's the real reason why they're going on tour. And they all squandered it. Not all squandered it, but they all have these huge entourages, flying first class, wanting to be put up in these hotels, want to all have their individual tour buses. Do you know how much all of that costs? They want to live big and grand, and Jeff was like, wait, what? Even Ralph? And I think he said even Ralph and Mikey or something like that, or Johnny and Mikey, or one of those two. And they were like, no, they're good, but all of their second solo albums flopped, so now they're coming back because they need to make some actual money. Brooke is irritated in general because, you know, the guys, they don't have the same work ethic that they used to. He was like, as kids, they put in more focus and have more work ethic. But he's going to continue to try and keep them together as much as he possibly can. And we see them do this huddle because at this time they're drinking. They're kind of putting in half the effort at practice. Bobby isn't showing up, period. They go on stage and perform, and Bobby comes a lot later. They're like, we're all done. It's like, well, maybe I could just go in and do one song with you guys. No, we're done. We don't do what you want us to do. We do what we want to do. That was the whole point of getting emancipated. Oh, all right. And the crowd's cheering, Bobby, Bobby, because of course Bobby wasn't there. So, and Bobby was still huge at that time. So he was able to go on. He brought on all this. I'm thinking, wow, it's really sad. Bobby didn't want to be alone. It's very clear that Bobby didn't want to be alone. He wanted success, but he also wanted a solid foundation, and he felt like he didn't have that solid foundation. But what matters most is what we found. How did I not, like, I don't know their story, but I feel like with how the world is shaped, how did this go missed? Ricky had a serious drug problem, and remember, I told you in, was it part 1? Yeah, I think it was part 1, if I'm not mistaken. No, not part 1, part 2. In part 2, how, even though Bobby was kicked out, Ricky was saying how we're all doing stuff, and that always stuck out to me because something didn't seem right, and he always seemed a little too eager and ready to go, make this money, and I'm thinking, why is he doing so much? Now I understand why. It was all in the name of supporting his lifestyle and addiction, and his wife knows about it because she was like, oh, you still have a cold? Mind you, this man, right before she got home, was cutting up the coke, did a bump, and he's hiding it in his muscle protein mix. His muscle protein mix. That is the sign of a true addict, and she's over it. He's just going, eating, not doing anything, because they're not making any money right now, and so it's stressing him out. Well, I shouldn't say they're not making any money right now, but things aren't going as well as he wants them to. He's clearly searching for something, feeling for something. Now it's caught up in real time when the show originally began, and Bobby's still going on his set. Ronnie, of all people, is over it, so Ronnie goes out there, and, you know, the quiet, mild-mannered one goes out there and says, like, you know, Bobby, no, it's time for you to go. So then they start off, I think they start to do Poison, and at that point Bobby's over because the crowd's super hyped. They were hyped for Bobby, but that was like the opening act. Now Poison's on, they're going crazy, Bobby's over it, so he goes, he tries to get a fire extinguisher, fire hose. The hose isn't connected properly, so it doesn't turn on. Bobby says, you know what, screw this. He runs out there, and then I think Ronnie's crew or some of Ronnie's people or the rest of their people come and knows, no, Bobby's up to no good. So this is in front of, 10,000 people at that show. In front of 10,000 people, they start this fight. Someone pulls out a gun. I think it was on, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was one of Ronnie's people, pulls out a gun, shoots. Thankfully, it misses, because I think the gun was possibly aimed at Bobby. Shoots, misses everyone, and everyone's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Ralph's just looking at them like, oh my god, I just want to wear some satin and go on stage. Johnny's thinking the same thing, like, yeah. And it's funny how I noticed that Johnny and Ralph really were like this, which I guess makes sense because they were both kind of pitched in the same line, same vein. But aside from all that, while this is going on and the squabble's going on, they're like, okay, Brooke's gonna get out of the way. Brooke had a heart condition, and his heart condition got really bad, and I think he actually had a heart attack. Now, there was a camera that was seeing all of this, and I believe it was it Mikey? It was either Mikey or Ricky that found him, and they got the paramedics. Ronnie is pissed. Ronnie is pissed, and he's trying to go after Bobby now, but really go after Bobby. Everyone's trying to hold him back, and he's like, no, let me go, because Johnny Gill was holding him back. Here's the thing. He said, I'm tired of you. This started back when we were kids. You were selfish. You only care. Well, you're selfish, and you think that you're not, but you really only care about yourself. You put the focus on you all the time. You're not professional. You barely show up to stuff. When you do, you show up super late. I'm tired of you and your antics. You're constantly doing drugs. We're constantly trying to bail you out, trying to cover for you. And it's too much. It's too much. It's not worth it. I'm sick and tired of you. And then he storms off because he needs to be with his uncle. Johnny and Ralph are both over it. They're like, we don't have time for this. We need to be successful. We don't have time for this. Along with not having time for that, the other factor is that Mikey is like, no, you know what, we're done. We're done. I'm just going to go back. No, there's nothing more to do. Like, what do you want from me? Because that's what he's essentially saying to Ricky. Because Ricky's like, no, we need this. We need this. And I'm thinking, I understand it, Ricky, but is this because you need the money? Is that the real reason why you don't want this to blow up in your face and you need to continue with this? Because you all need the money, but all need / want the money at this point in time. Ricky's at home and his house is being foreclosed. They have nothing else. His wife's asking, can they do anything? Is there anything that they can do? The answer is no. They already had multiple extensions. They cannot get an extension on top of the 5 other extensions. They have no more time. She says, well, you know, maybe you can get a job. And this is where the reality set in. He said, I don't do anything else. I only know how to do this. Ooh. Sorry about that. And strike a pose. And that's it. That's what I'm good for. I can't do an office job. I can't do any of that. And I'm thinking, oh, that's so sad. That is so sad because there's a lot of people who feel that way. They're only good at what they have been praised for, what they became successful in. If they had to start over, starting over is not even an option for them. Johnny's has an interview with 98.9, I believe, and they asked him, so what's going on with New Edition? What's going on with the tour? The tour's on hiatus, New Edition's on hiatus, so it's going to be Johnny Gill. Johnny Gill's going to be doing Johnny Gill right now. Ronnie went to this seminar, like this financial planning or financial wellness seminar, and there were these 2 guys in the back that I realized it was Ronnie. I was like, dang, I knew they fell off, but I didn't know they fell off that bad. And the thing is, I couldn't get mad because that's a realistic response. A lot of people say / do things like that when they see someone like, oh dang, they're working there, they're doing that. But screw that. At least Johnny, I'm sorry, at least Ronnie decided, instead of me going and just sitting home crying, sulking, not doing anything, I'm going to be productive. You know, my uncle Brooke taught me that one door closes, you need to either bust that door open or create a new avenue. So I'm going to go and do this over here since this isn't working. That's exactly what Mike did. Mike had his businesses set up with his other groups, and they were trying to figure out, so where's the money? Where's the money? He said, look at your contract. Get on the phone with me right. Get your contract right now. We're going to go through this together because how did you not look at it? How did you not look at it? I'm not here to just make money off of you and you not make anything for yourself. I've been where you are, so I know how you feel. And at first I was thinking, this feels like what Star said, what Maurice said. But I could tell that he was serious. Like, he was like, no, get the contract open. Get the contract open. We're going to get this right now. We are going to get this right now. You feel me? All right. Ralph got taken to court by his ex, well, by his soon-to-be ex-wife. She wanted half. She actually wanted everything. And she wanted the houses, the cars, and then half of his earnings. She just wanted it all. And he didn't contest to it because I'm thinking, that's what I saw in her. I felt like he was painting her out to be someone who could potentially be an opportunistic gold digger. I'm not saying living with him is easy because, again, he tried, this movie painted him as this mild-mannered person. Doesn't mean that when he was at home that he was easy to deal with. But, you know, unless he was really degrading her and putting her down, making her feel like nothing, they maybe could have worked it out. Unless he wasn't happy either, and so that's why he was happy to see her go. Who knows? Ricky, who is the real story right now, he overdosed. He overdosed in his bathroom. His wife, I believe his wife, yeah, found him and was like, oh my god, she had to call the cops, call the paramedics because he was like foaming, / throwing up, his eyes are rolling back, he was shaking, and there was even blood. I'm thinking, dang, blood. Did he cut himself? Like, what? Did he bust an organ? What happened? Like, clearly it's an overdose, but what else was going on? I'm thinking, I was trying to look at the table. Was there anything on there? Was there a razor? And that's how he cut himself. But he was in AA because, of course, now, not AA, but he went to a support group. And I think technically Alcoholics Anonymous, Addicts Anonymous, I think it's about the same. He went to a support group and he said, you know, my drug of choice was cocaine. I also did pills. I did essentially everything, including drank. And, you know, my issue was cocaine. I said, nope, that's not right. And he called himself, he said, no. My issue was chasing the feeling of just really feeling excitement, that rush. That's what I really wanted. I'm thinking, yep, that sounds about right. And I respect him so much for putting it all out there, because we see a lot of these biopics that don't really depict what's going on, and so we look at them like, yeah, right. So that's what they're trying to paint to us, but here's the reality. But Ricky said, no, I'm going to show you everything. I'm putting it all out there. Ronnie, he was just playing for his wedding, and his bride-to-be let me know, why are you trying to play me? I understand what's really going on. You don't want the wedding planners, you don't want to do this and that. Thing is, you want it small because you're not sure who will show up on your side regarding your friends. Why don't you just make good with your friends? It's not that easy. When we're good, we're good. When we're good, but there's always something extra. And that's part of the reason what made us so good. So I don't know right now. It's like, no, you need to figure it out. So on the day of his wedding, of course, everyone showed up. Everyone showed up. First it was Bobby, and at this point Bobby sobered up. So he wasn't drinking or anything. He looked good, he looked focused, he looked grown. We were like, Bobby! And then slowly everyone else came. The last person to actually come was Mike. And Mike addressed everyone, and except for Ralph. Now, I don't remember what the issue was with Ralph, but they changed the subject quickly. I'm not sure if it had to do with the whole, you know, actually, I don't remember. Let me know, what was the issue with Ralph and Mike? Like, what happened? Maybe it was just something petty that recently happened. Maybe it was something in an interview, because it wasn't really touched on. It was kind of like, okay, so they're not talking. But anyway, that's how they essentially handled it. So they're at the wedding, and Ralph is kind of talking to Mike, and they make good. They make good. It was the whole thing of egos, and they're really brothers at the end of the day, and just the general disrespect that's gone on between the two of them. Because that's the thing, even though Ralph wasn't necessarily seen fighting and all of that in this movie, because it was more so putting the focus on the fact that he was the lead, and so he had to do lead stuff. All of them were fighting for the most part. Ronnie was kind of the guy, like Ronnie too, like all of them were fighting like they were brothers. The fights would go from play fights to real fights, and that's just how it was. But it was nice to see everyone make up, make amends. They were even doing karaoke. Brooke did a toast, and it was like, I'm so proud to see all of New Edition here. I'm proud to have been a part of it. I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of all of you for getting it together. And that's where it was someone from BET. I don't know if it was Stephen Hill himself, but it was someone from Stephen Hill. Why did I say that? But it was someone from BET who noticed, you know what? A New Edition reunion would be amazing. And that's when the whole 25th anniversary New Edition special occurred on the BET Awards, because it was really great how they did the performance. Now I will say, I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of wish that it kind of transitioned into them bringing out the real official New Edition members, but I get it. It was all about filling a moment and thing a moment, and it was a montage of how all of them came together, some of their like biggest moments, most defining moments to get them to where they are now. Because even Bobby, of course, as we know, was there, and they all were performing together. It was just really nice. Bobby did a solo, Billy DeVoe did a solo, and it was the full performance as well. And that's the thing, the performances, the dancing, the voices, the mannerisms. When I saw how the original members actually acted, I was like, wow, these actors did an amazing job. These actors did an amazing job. Shout out to BET for doing that. Shout out to BET for doing this, because I must say, it was great. It was great. It was great. You have to, if you don't watch anything else this weekend, you need to watch this. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. Shout out to the full New Edition cast of the movie, the biopic. Shout out to the members. Shout out to their family members. This is a lesson that the music industry hasn't changed that much, and it's pretty sad, but hopefully someone can learn from the story. Hopefully a bunch of people are inspired from this story.